All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the TED Talk. We keep it going strong with those pre-major interviews. This is our third and final one, I actually think. We did one with Gravity from 3D Mags. There's the Soul one from G2, and now we've got someone that is that dedicated to the content game that decided to record this literally like 5 days before leaving for Budapest, and 1 week before the start of the major. We've got blameF from FNATIC. Absolute pleasure. Yeah, how have you been? Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I've been fine. Just now we just had weekend and I was playing a lot of Faceit. Like trying to play, I don't know, 5, 8 Faceit a day or something on every off day. And now we're back to practice schedule. So now practice. I did the gym in my break today. We have 1 hour break, and then now do this interview, and then back on the Faceit grind. So yeah, I just try to play as much as possible up to the major to give us the best chance of doing something good.
Okay, let me know how the preparation has been going for you guys, because you said that you're obviously boot camping from home, not from a physical place. Is that because of the intense schedule throughout the last couple of months for you? You just want to get some time away from each other, so to speak.
I assume so, yeah, probably. But preparation has been fine. I think it's the first time in very long time that we actually had more than 1 week of practice. So these last many months to try to qualify for the major, we've been traveling to many lands, so we didn't have much practice. But now we actually had a couple of weeks of practice for the major, so it's good to get to work on some of the things that hasn't been working and stuff. So yeah, I feel good.
How do you feel about it, by the way? If you had to choose, like right now, obviously, because you've traveled a lot, do you feel like you're losing something? What are the pros and cons? Because I had a similar chat with Gravity a couple days ago, and he actually told me he prefers the online bootcamp before an event like this after a couple months of intense traveling. He thinks it actually helps everyone to be more comfortable.
Yeah, I think it just depends who you are. For me personally, I don't mind. Yeah, I think many people know like I don't really get tired of playing ever something like that, like burnout and stuff. So for me, I could easily boot camp and stuff. But maybe some other people, have been traveling a lot recently compared to what they used to. But I was also in Astralis at one point where this was normal schedule. Every other week you go to a tournament. That's just how it is. So I think maybe I'm more used to it or something. But for me, I'm totally fine. Whatever the team prefers, I'm just down. I just want to play as much as possible. And of course, now that I'm playing from home, I have more time to do other things as well, like going to the gym, playing Faceit, like all these other things that are maybe a little bit easier for me to do now that I'm just sitting at home anyway.
All right. So the last couple of months have been very intense for you and the guys. Obviously, it's been a lot of traveling back and forth, going to some of those smaller VRS LAN events. How did that go through your perspective? How have the last couple of months, weeks felt for you personally, having to travel so much to maybe not the scale of events that you're used to usually?
It's been going good overall. Of course, there's some of the events where we didn't have good enough results, but if I take one step back, for example, and look at all the lanes we played in the last like half a year or however 5 months or however much it has been, like we won I think we won two tier two or whatever you want to call it, tier
Yeah.
two events before the break with Matush, and then after the break, I think we won both Draculan and Fragadelphia. So in that case, like we kind of won 4 of those events we went to, which is good. But then there was also some of the tournaments where we didn't go deep enough, and then I kind of sit with the feeling that that's not good enough. But also, if I'm realistic, I'm also thinking that if we just won every single event, that's not really realistic. I think tier two is very competitive, and it's not reasonable to think that any tier two team can just travel to every event and win everything, because then you wouldn't be tier two. You would probably be one of the best tier one teams. I think it's very hard to find that kind of consistency. So overall, I'm happy because we won some, but also some of them we lost. Like we shouldn't have lost two of the teams we did. And
Mm.
but overall, I would say we did pretty well, everything considered.
And personally, like that entire vibe of those smaller LAN cafes, like you're 10 years ago and you're just going to the local LAN in your country, like how does that vibe feel to you personally? Do you enjoy it to some extent?
Mm, I enjoy more the bigger
Sure.
events for sure. But yeah, I mean, some of them are very fun, but also some of them are very tough. Having to adapt to play PCs with 100 FPS and stuff like that all of a sudden. Like you're not
Right.
used to that when you're sitting at home, or you're not used to that when you're traveling to the big events as well. So in that case, there's definitely some something to adapt to. Even some of the events you cannot do desktop height and all these things. Like you just have to play with what there is. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's fine. I think I'm more used to it now because now we're playing more of those tier twos than we are playing the tier ones event.
Yeah.
So now I feel like I'm just used to it now. But Of course, I enjoy the bigger events more. That's kind of what you wanna. That's where you wanna be participating when you're a CS2 player.
All right. And what do you make of that VRS? Well, the current state of VRS in the major qualification system. What do you make of the fact that most of the teams need to travel to those events? It's kind of like a must, right? It's not whether you guys want to or don't want to. Is those are your MRQs, those are your RMRs. So, how would you compare that to someone that's played a bunch of RMRs before and played a bunch of majors to the previous qualification systems? Like for you personally, what are the pros and cons? Which one is better?
Me, of course, like I'm not gonna talk about like the financial stuff and all that because that's like the organization side of it.
Yeah,
But just like pure excitement, I would say I enjoy the MRQs more. Like when you actually, go somewhere and play, because I just think the hype is just there. Even you saw in Philadelphia when people said the last four teams in the semifinals all could go to the major, whoever won it. It was such an intense feeling, you kind of felt all of a sudden that okay, we may be playing this smaller LAN in USA, but the four teams here are like fighting to go to the major. And I think we played OG, and then we played sorry, 9 in the
yeah,
final, and like every game feels so important. Like every time you killed one, even like the semifinal versus OG or whatever, like everything
yeah,
feels so important. And I think that's the feeling you're kind of looking for. That's like what's very nice. That's like I think like that was the pros of like the MRQ, but of course the pros of the new system is that every match matters throughout the whole year. Like
yeah.
everything matters. That's also good, so you don't just like this is a small
You
online
don't become
event, like it doesn't
complacent
matter.
if you're in a good spot.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, I think it's like a little bit annoying for us as a team because I think we were in a very good spot point wise, and then we lost two games online, or was it 3 games online, and we lost minus 30 points for every
Yeah.
every game we lost, and then it's like we lost 100 points for losing a couple online games, and we're kind of like, wow, like a couple of days ago we are in a really good spot, and now it's like very hard. So I think there's pros and cons of both, but personally I like the excitement of going to a MRQ, like or like whatever it's called. Even when we went to Shanghai and stuff, I remember as well. With FNATIC and stuff. It was just
Yeah.
like when you're playing that, and then when you win, like when you go to the major by winning that last game, you're so happy, like
Yeah.
so hyped, and I think that excitement is like that will bring excitement even in the lower tier games.
Yeah, nothing beats it, does it? We're gonna talk a little bit about the way that you guys were able to make it into the major later on in the interview, because that was a pretty, I don't know, outstanding fashion. I guess you needed a lot of stars to align, but they all did. We're gonna start talking about your team now for a little bit. One of the main talking points about Fnatic throughout the last couple of months, and I'm not going to talk about the changes yet, will be Fear as an in-game leader. Fnatic have been very vocal in the way that they support Fear to have the authority, make decisions, and pretty much believe in his vision for the game, right? And you are obviously part of the team. You are someone who used to be an IGL before. You are a pretty opinionated player. So, what do you make of Fear as an in-game leader now that you've worked with him for close to 1 year? What do you think of him? What do you think about the entire approach of letting him have the authority and having a lot of power into what is being done and how things are being done in the team?
Yeah, I think it's the honestly the how every team is doing it nowadays, with like the IGL being more and more like the leader. Yeah, of course the leader of the team, but also like the guy deciding and stuff, like working close with the organization and stuff. I think it's pretty normal. I've seen it in many big teams as well that the IGL is having the big say and stuff, and the organization is kind of like um, you know putting their money on that kind of person or whatever you want to call it.
All right.
He's a good he's a good IGL and good guy, and yeah, I think he's doing a good job. So yeah, nothing bad for me to say about that dynamic at all.
In terms of style and like the person that he is, because he is a guy with a strong opinion on a lot of things. I've had him here on the channel a bunch of times, and I love his character. He's a very strong character. How would you compare him as a younger guy to yourself when you were in IGL? What was it a similar situation, similar dynamic when you have been the in-game leader on some of your teams before, where you get that amount of authority? Is that something that you're very used to? And as you said, a lot of people are doing it nowadays. But was it the same back in the days?
I would say, of course, it's been a long time since I've been IGL, but I would say that he's like way more loose and like letting people do what they want, kinda.
Okay.
Than me. I think I was way more. I wanted to be way more in control. I think he's alright with like people just saying I want to do this move. I want to do this. These things. I think he's like good at just being that like that. I think this suits him as well. That is like more like free flowing, defaulting, like these kind of things. I think he's very good at that. For example, for myself, I feel like I can do whatever I want with him as an IGL, but not in a bad way, in a good way, Like I can say like, hey, I think I have good spawn for this, and then he will immediately be like, yeah, you should do that, So yeah, I think he's way better at that aspect, Also in CS2 compared to CS:GO, I think also CS2 is way more based around firepower and people, actually doing stuff on the map. I don't think it's like just like 5 people trying to execute sites anymore. I feel like it's way more default based and stuff, and I think it fits well into his style of calling.
All right. And what would you say? How would you describe the dynamic between him and Independent? Because I think this is a very interesting topic. Because obviously Independent was an assistant coach for you guys for a year, and now he's the head coach. But I don't think a lot of people know a lot about him as a coach. Like, is he the analytical type? Is he the human type where he's dealing more with the mental side of stuff? What type of a person he is even? Like, what is his direct input into the team?
Yeah, I think he's a bit of both, honestly. I think he's him and Rody, like him and Fia has a good. I think they see a lot of stuff the same way, and I think that's why they
Okay.
probably got chosen to be together or whatever by Fnatic. So yeah, I think for sure, like he's very hardworking. He's like trying to both be like motivating the team and stuff, but he's also trying to at the same time, look at the tactical side as well. It's not like it's only here, for example, that's doing that. No, he like the coach is also checking out all these things. So yeah, I just think that I think it's a bit of both, honestly, and I think he's doing a good job at that. And I think the dynamic between these two people is very natural. I think that's probably why, as I said, they were chosen to continue together after the break here as well. Yes.
Okay, and as someone who's a little bit less experienced as he is and a little bit younger, do you feel like he's doing a good job at just being? Is he like an authoritative coach who's going to be with Fear at the helm, or is he a little bit more of a support to Fear's leadership? If you get what I mean, has he been able to get to that level where he has authority over the team?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like some questions are hard to answer because if I just, like I don't want to say something and then take out of context, then people say
Sure.
like, oh, he's like only this or like he's not this at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so like I think there's a good balance. I don't think he's like
Okay.
a guy that wants to like like have authority over people or something. Like it's not something
Sure.
he's trying to like practice. Like, but I
Yeah.
think people listen to him, and I think that's the most important thing. I think if he says something to me, I'm listening to him, and I want to listen to him because
Okay.
he's a good guy, and and I feel like he's knowledgeable and he's like nice to work with. So I think it's more like in that sense. But I don't feel like anyone in the team is like trying to have authority over other people. I think it's more like people respect each other and listen to each other and want to listen to each other, and that's like a good natural balance in all of that.
Yeah.
But for sure, I think people are listening. I think that's also the whole reason why he became head coach or whatever you want to call it in the beginning, interim coach or whatever it's called. In the beginning was because people liked the way he did stuff.
Okay.
So I think that was why he was chosen.
Yeah, yeah, it's healthy authority, in a sports way, like on a football team or whatever, which is nice to hear. It's nice to hear that there's a lot of
Yes,
mutual
but
respect.
I just want to make sure people don't think like it's not like he's like
Yeah,
sitting there like listen to me, like you have
yeah,
to listen to me. Like it's not like that. It's just like
yeah.
he says stuff and people listens to it, and I feel like everyone in the team does it. And I feel like there's a very healthy relationship in the team where if anyone wants to say something, there's both time and space for it, but also people want to listen to the guys because to that guy because people like each other and people have a healthy relationship with each other. I would say.
Okay, and obviously everyone is open to voice their opinion and say how they want to play the game and how they want to approach it. But are you? Because again, I'm going back to the same point. But you have been an in-game leader and you are the most experienced player on this team, bar KRIMZ, obviously. But Freddy's a legend. Do you see yourself as kind of like the second voice of the team, where you're gonna help in some of the mid rounding, maybe some of the prep as well, or is there a different dynamic going on?
No, yeah, I think that would be how I would describe it for sure. Like I think I'm the player that preps the most for sure. And I think also like it comes natural to me mainly because partly because of my experience, but also partly because of the positions I played that I am very vocal. So many rounds and half can start out with me saying something, and then Brody is also very good at like let's say I'm saying whatever I want to do or whatever I think is good to do. He's good at like building up around that very fast. So
Okay.
yeah, for me I think that's that's pretty normal. Yes.
All right. In terms of making transfer decisions, we're slowly going to ease into that. See, I'm not going into it straight away. We're doing some preparation work and then we start going into the hot topics. But in terms of roster changes, because you guys have made a bunch of these since the start of the year, and since you joined the organization, there's been even more. Pretty much the entire team, bar KRIMZ, has changed around you. How does that process go from within the organization? Is it a player's decision? Is it the management? Is it the coach? Is it an amalgamation? And how much of a voice do you specifically get in some of those changes? Or is it different from one change to another?
I think it's probably a little bit different from one change to another. But I would say for them when we got like in the beginning of the year when we got Fear in, I was very vocal that I think that was the right guy for the team because
Okay.
I saw what he did in Passion UA, for example. So I heavily said to Fnatic, I think that's the guy. Like I saw how they played in Passion UA. They played very default based, and I thought that also was very meta, and I thought they did a good job and stuff. So I was very involved or whatever you want to say back then. But this year, no, I'm not really part of it, honestly.
Okay.
It's more like from the yeah, IGL and Fnatic, I would say, that are doing these things for sure. Not really something. Of course, I get told things and stuff, but
Okay.
not really something I'm part of deciding. No.
All right. I was wondering, I'm going to take you back in time now. We'll take you back in time for the first 6 months of this year, pretty much the first season, because that was a big rebuild for Fnatic as a team. You changed leadership, you entrust a young guy with his vision on how he wants to play the game, giving him his first shot at international CS. Then you pick up Jamboo as well. There was a lot of things going on. And for a long period of time, you guys were not able to participate in the tier 1 events that you yourself are used to playing as an individual. So it wasn't, it was a tough, I guess, period for you guys as a team and maybe for you personally. So how did that entire experience go from your perspective, through your eyes? What was going through your mind during those first 6 months?
Yeah, I think it is kind of like you said. Honestly, like we understood when we saw this like new system, what you would call it, like how like VRS points and everything, and like we were not having a good ranking at that point, also because we did bad at the last major Shanghai, and you didn't get any points, I think, or you get very little points from winning the RMQ or RMR, whatever it's called,
Hmm.
that we did to qualify the major. So we knew we were not in a good spot like that. So it's kind of like needed to do the grind to get back. That we knew that this is not going to be the season that's the most fun for us because you have to sit and play so many online games to try to grind back to the top. But we understood that that's where we're at. There's nothing to do about it. So I don't think it was something like that. We sat and no one was sitting and feeling like, oh, it's like unfair. We have to be here. No, like that's just the position we're in. We need to help Fnatic get back into the big events or like in the
Hmm.
circuit, where you get invited to. So we understood that it's probably not this season it's going to happen. It's more like the next season. And I think we did very well that season. I do think that at the end of the season, we had like, I think the last 3 tournaments we played was like 3 finals and one of them we won, oh, sorry, 2 of them we won and one we lost or something like
Yeah.
that. One of them being online as well. But I just think that we had good results and we felt like we were in a very good spot when the break happened this summer. Of course, then we lost Matush, which was a setback for the team, but I do think the whole team felt that the synergy, like everything was there for like right before the break. We had like played long time together. We had a good map pool. I think we felt like we were ready to take that next step there. But of course, then we lost Matush and some things kind of reset after that. Um, I think we did good that season, even though the results will not say that we did good because we're not playing many top events. But as a team, we felt like we did the whole grind of like going through online everything and trying to grind our way back up. And then in the end, we also got some invites this season based off that performance.
Yeah, and you did go into the second season having to play those VRS LANs that we spoke about, because obviously that was the big change, right? There was the MRQ in the first half of the season, and then the second there was just Draculan and Birch Cup and everything like this. As you said, there was a couple that went very well for you guys, but at a certain point after Birch, which wasn't great, it kind of felt like you were out of the race for the major in a way, right? Your percentages were incredibly low and the situation was not fantastic. So, how did you feel after that tournament? Did you feel like it was over for you guys? What was the team atmosphere like? Like how did you handle that entire situation?
don't think we felt like it was over, but we knew that it was very hard, of course.
Hmm.
But I just think that, as you said yourself, like that Birch Cup we lost like very early, and then on top of that we also lost like those online games around the same timing, and which made us just lose so many points that it for sure felt harder. But I don't think it's not like we sat every week and was like, let's see, like, oh, we have
Yeah.
a good chance of going to the major. It's not like we really focused on that because even if we didn't qualify for the major, whatever we do this season will still determine how like next season will be for Fnatic. You know, we need to like even if we didn't qualify for major, we still had some of these tier 1.5/tier 1 events. We were going to Shanghai and Bucharest and these things, and we still needed to focus on having decent results here to gain points, no matter if we're going to the major or not. So honestly, don't think we focused that much on the major, but of course, when we're at Philadelphia, and then people still are like, now you can actually, if you win this
Yeah.
one, you will qualify. Then of course you're thinking, okay, now we have a good chance. But before that, I didn't think that much about it to be honest.
All right, and during Frag, because that was a very weird event. Because I think, especially considering that you had to play with jackasmo, obviously KRIMZ couldn't travel. It was a last second change. How did that go through your perspective? Did it make it even more difficult to believe that you can win? And the moment that you started getting the wins, did you start just looking at the EPO results and being like, okay, now we're calculating, now we're trying to see what happens, or you were just fixated on getting the win at the event, taking it calmly? In general, how did that event feel for you? Because it must have been a little bit stressful at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I think overall, you talk about the rosters and stuff. It's been hard to play well sometimes because people also have to realize how many different players we're playing with this season.
Yeah,
Like, even when we started this season, when we lost Batush, we were playing with different players than we were playing. Like, we had like even trying zero fix and stuff. Like, we had different players in
yeah,
because we didn't have a fifth. So we were playing with stand-in, and then we at Philadelphia we were also playing with stand-in, and then next event new lineup. So as you said yourself, it's been very tough in that regard. Honestly, playing with new players all the time, it's very hard to build any consistency when you know not only do some players play different positions, but also play style and everything. Like you have to change so much. So it's been very tough. Of course, when we went to Philadelphia, I thought also like I don't know what to expect because
yeah,
I never played with jackasmo before. I don't know what to expect, but he did very well, and we won the event. And yeah, I think the only time I started to think about that we could qualify for major was when I think it was when Nine was beating Saw or something like that. Like some
yeah,
people said, like it's last map now. If they win this map, like you guys can actually qualify if you win. And then
yeah,
of course I was like, okay, I hope they win then.
yeah.
But yeah, I think for sure it's been hard conditions to play under for sure.
It was a bit crazy, right? Because you were hoping Soul loses, but then in the same time you were hoping Gentlemates lose in EPL. So there was a couple things that had to go your way. They did, and now we're here, and now you're going to be traveling to Budapest, which is great. Initial opinion on jackasmo. What you thought of him, the first event, before you even knew that he was staying on the team.
Yeah, I like Jackasmo a lot. I think he's a very very good young guy, and he's good at listening, and he has good firepower, and yeah, just all the normal qualities of a young player, you know. So yeah, I liked him a lot, and I think also personally, I also think have a good connection with him. Even in Fragility and stuff, I remember we had some Uber drives together and stuff. We were like laughing a lot together and stuff. So yeah, I really like the guy, and yeah, I think he's a funny lad and everything. So yeah, nothing bad to say about him.
Before we jump into some more detail, because obviously his appearance or addition to the team changes a little bit of how you guys approach the game, right? Because as you said, players are different. They have different tendencies, different ways of approaching. We have to address the change that you did decide to make. It was a little bit weird because jackasmo was on the team, CYPHER was out, but then it wasn't 100% guaranteed for a little while that you will actually stay and play with jackasmo for the major, right? And you guys said it, FNATIC said it, that a further decision will be made. So how did that entire thing go through your perspective with the entire now we're playing with jackasmo and CYPHER, we win, but then we go back home, Freddy's back, CYPHER's out, or KRIMZ is out, CYPHER's out, KRIMZ is in, and jackasmo stays on the team. What do you make of that entire thing?
Yeah, it's probably like a topic I'm not interested in talking too much about, but I already kind of feel like I said it, but I haven't really been part of like these like big decisions and stuff.
Sure,
Not that I have anything against anyone or anything like that. It's just it's not really been something I've been part of. So I think it would be stupid that I sit here and tell why we're doing this and this. I think if people want to
sure.
know why they did what they did, they should just watched that 30-minute video that they put out. So yeah, I don't have much to say on that topic other than I think yeah, jackasmo is a good player. I can see why people want to play with him. I think he's a very great player and I had very good he put a good impression on me when I played with him in Philadelphia, so I can understand that. But I also thought CYPHER was a great player.
Sure.
I don't think CYPHER was a bad player at all. So yeah, it's only good stuff to say about it.
Okay, and in terms of what it changes for you on the server and for the team in terms of dynamics and approach to the game, because obviously we know Cypher is a soldier, right? He's someone that just you give him the permission to press full W and go and fight people, he'll do it most of the time, right? And if you need someone to die for you, he'll do it. jackasmo is a little bit more on the passive spectrum, even though you guys are trying to make him a little bit more of a star, I guess you could say, get him more involved. How do you feel the team's identity in terms of structure, in terms of the just the way that you approach Counter Strike changed after that swap?
Yeah, I think for sure that they're different players, 100%. I do think team has tried to put jackasmo in a lot of those second star positions on CT and stuff, like second rotation roles, and tried to give him a lot of the position that he wanted. There was also some of them where like maybe he thinks like he's better at playing like the anchor spot on that map, for example, and then try to give that to him. So I do think the team has done like try to like accommodate him. For sure, different players, and yeah, he's not as aggressive as CYPHER is.
Mm-hmm.
Not many players are. So I think the whole team needs to do more than they did before. I also need to do more. I also think that I had a lot of success being more aggressive in some of these the last two tier one events. I think I was having way more
Oh,
entrance into
we'll
stuff
get to
that I
that.
used to
Don't you
have.
worry. I've got it lined up. We're gonna talk about your individual form.
Yeah, but for sure, I think everyone just has to do more.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why it's nice to have Fear as an ideal because he's the first guy who will say, you know, in any scenario, okay, like someone doesn't want to do that, I'll do that, you know, or like, you
Okay.
know, what he wants the players to be happy. So I think I would say most times it's like on set stress, I would say it's like Fear and like Casper running in first, and Fear is always asking like, hey, do you want to be first or you want to be second? Because sometimes it's nicer to be first and sometimes
Sure.
it's best to be second. So in that sense, I think Fear is always trying to help his teammates in succeeding with whatever it could be, you know. So, but of course, like going for openings and stuff, like everyone just has to do more. Everyone has to talk more. Everyone has to do more, and that's how it is. And if we want to succeed, we need to make that work.
The reason I'm so interested in the team dynamics is because I feel like nowadays there's few teams that have an identity, a clear identity, and they are trying to craft things up themselves, right? Come up with their own plays, their own ways to approach rounds. I think you're one of these teams. And for example, you look at Train, you look at the way that you play around the lurk smokes and the sandwich smoke and the Ivy lurk smoke. You combine these, you hit B, or you've got the nice to set up Jack for some quick peeks in towards pop. I feel like there's a lot of variety to the game that you're bringing in. Is that Fear coming up with the majority of those very crafty and well, pretty I want to say maybe terrorizing plays for the team on the other side?
I think it depends where it is on the map. For example, I would say most maps, like not most maps, on all maps, like my position is usually me calling these things when I want to play around the smokes and stuff in teammate. That's
Okay,
usually me calling it, but I think he's very good at immediately realizing if I say like, I want to do this, like he will immediately be good at saying, hey Jack, can you go fast pop? Like, can you speed up here? Or like, let's say they want to do something towards inner. Then I would say it's probably more like him calling it because that's more of, like him and Jack running towards inner in default. So I think it just depends on where it is on the map, honestly. But yeah, I think also some of them now. I think we played like 30 trades or something in 3 months. So some of the things is also just something that we all understand. That I think like even 3 months ago, if I came with a play, now people just understand way more. When Blame called this play, like I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. You know, and they also understand that they have these options and stuff. So I think it's just something that comes with experience as a team as well.
and would you say it's part of the identity of the team in a way that you guys are trying to come up with your own stuff in comparison to just looking at what, let's say, the top 5, top 10 teams do and just add in a couple little tweaks? Because it really does feel like there's a bit of a difference between the way that a team like you, NIP, I think, is a very good example as well of a team that's very creative on train. Obviously, Furia, but they're one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world right now. So, is that something that you guys are deliberately trying to do? You're just focused on trying to have a unique approach to the game?
Yeah, I mean, both yes and no. I think like we always have this joke in the team that I'm like Danish player and Danish players like structure and Danish players like these things, because for sure like many of the plays I have might not, it's not something I take from other teams, but maybe I see other teams using the smoke, and then I want to like, I always come and say like, hey, I like this team using the smoke like this. I want to try to like have some plays around this, but something that I'm comfortable with.
Sure.
So I don't think I'm like, we're not like stealing stuff from other teams, I would say, but I think I am watching all the teams like and all the players that are good in my position, so I always know all the options there is. I would say in most maps, I kind of have like all variations of stuff that other teams have. I think the rest of my team is honestly a little bit more fine with just playing, I would say.
Okay.
Like Passion UA, for example, when they were playing there, like it's not like they had 100 strats, they kind of just
Yeah.
defaulted. I think they're more comfortable with that, and I think that's a good mix to have, because maybe I come and say like, hey, can I get this flash? Can I get this smoke? And that's fine, because then some of the rounds we could do that, but also some of the rounds we just do completely normal default. I think it's a good balance between not too many people wanting to do crazy stuff, but also at the same time, there is still me coming with some of the structure and say like, hey, I think it's good to throw this smoke with this flash on these things in my position. So I think that's kind of how I think the I'm probably the guy coming the most and say, hey, this is how I want to play my position, and I think
Sure.
the other guys are more fine just playing the position, and I think that's a good balance.
All right, all right. That's very cool to know. It's very cool, especially after the amount of your train demos that I've watched throughout the last couple of weeks. It's very good to get some insight behind all of this. In terms of the trio, the Expansion UA trio of Jamboo, jackasmo, and Fear now, does it feel like is it an obvious thing when you're on the team that they have that extra connection? And it's a bit of a follow up to that. How does it feel to be on a team with such young guys that are still aspiring to reach that tier 1 level and bring in some of that extra energy? Obviously, for someone like you, that's a lot more experience than for someone like KRIMZ, who's an absolute legend, but even more experienced than yourself.
Yeah, for sure you can feel that not only like chemistry on the server, but also they just know each other personally, because I think they were even living together for some time in
Yeah,
the Passion UA bootcamp facilities or whatever that was. So yeah, I just think that they just know each other. They know how to talk to each other. They know how to react to each other. They know when people are feeding what way and stuff like that, because they've been friends for so long. So yeah, for sure I can feel that they have that. I don't know what you want to call it, natural chemistry, but they have that built-up chemistry at
mm.
least, because they've been playing with each other for a long time and knowing each other. I also immediately felt it already when Ambo joined the team, that him and Fear was very comfortable with each other. I remember every time we had eco, Fear was like yelling like, I can do full eco, Jambos. You can just buy hero deagle. You can buy hero orb. Like I'll save orb. Like, so you can just tell that,
Yeah.
they know each other, they like each other and everything. And I think that's something I also think that helped Jambo a lot when he joined the team. That Fear was there and he was immediately ready to, like literally play block, so Ema could have Eagle even in eco rounds. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he didn't even have to save for his own off. So yeah, I just think that they have that chemistry together, and that's good to have. That, like, of course, that makes people more comfortable in a team when you play with teammates that you have that with.
Okay, okay, that's very wholesome to hear. We're gonna get to the last couple of events that you guys played, which was obviously CS Asia and PGL Bucharest. Those were your first tier 1 LAN events all year long, right? You waited a long time to be back and actually play against some of the best teams on LAN. So, uh, first of all, did you miss it? Did you miss it all this time? Did it feel good to be back? Was it one of those moments where you're like, yes, I'm finally back where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah, for me, I love it, of course. Like I always feel like I played better on LAN. Maybe not in my early stage. I think I was very good online because I was grinding a lot online. But since the started stuff, I always felt more comfortable on LAN. Like even having zero ping and these things, I just feel like so much more comfortable. And of course, like everything is just also more luxurious in the big events, like the hotel rooms, the PCs, the practice rooms. Everything is just feel good. All you have to do is perform, and I like that. I don't have to sit and think about outside things. So yeah, it feels good every time I'm back at a big tournament. I always appreciate it a
Yeah.
lot. So for sure, I'm very happy every time I get the chance to play a bigger tournament. It's very very good feeling for me.
And in terms of the goals that you guys were setting yourselves up for those events, or the goals that you had going into them, was it more of a let's get as much experience as we can with that 5-man lineup now playing against some better teams ahead of the major? or was it we're just gonna go and we're gonna definitely we're gonna have some set goals, or we're considering this a failure? If you can understand what I mean.
I understand what you mean. It's not like we set goals. We never.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever do that. Where it's like you have to make this, otherwise it's a failure. Because I think then it's very hard to succeed. But I think it's hard for us to just say we need it as as experience, because when you don't go to a lot of big events, then you also kind of need to do good at the big events you're going to, because we're not gonna be just playing 10 years together. We can just say like, oh, well, let's just let's just see what happens. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of need to show something. So. But at the same time, as you also said, like we were playing with different rosters with like every tournament as well. So it's also hard, we for example, when we traveled to Shanghai, I think we only had one prac day at home since the Philadelphia tournament, and that's with two different rosters. So we had one prac day before Shanghai.
Yeah.
So before a big event for us, we had one prac day with that roster, because we had new roster because we were playing with different ones in Philadelphia. So in that sense, you kind of also have to think that you're kind of doing it to also get some experience together. But as I said, on the other side, I'm not gonna go to two tier one events a year and then be like, let's just see what happens. Like, no, of course you want to do good.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of both. But yeah.
Were you able to get anything valuable out of these events? I bet you were, but what were the lessons that you guys maybe got out of CS Asia, and maybe more so out of PGO Bucharest? Because as you pointed out, CS Asia was a little bit of a last second rush with the lineup change. But all in all, do you feel like the team was able to get something valuable and, see, okay, this area we need to put a little bit more extra work into, that area we need to focus on more as well?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think we learned a lot, especially like even map pool wise, like what maps are we good at, what needs to be worked on, and it was very
Okay.
valuable for us before the major, knowing that, because as I said, we have now a couple of weeks to practice, so it was very valuable getting that experience. I also think maybe not as much only as a team, but I think also individually some players understood more about themselves maybe after playing these bigger events, because maybe you get punished more on certain things versus the better teams than you do at when you play the tier 2, tier 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also some players probably also got some good individual knowledge from these events. So I would say a bit of both, yes.
Okay, and now we get to speak about your individual form and what has changed for you in the server. So PGO Bucharest, I don't know if you're aware, but that was your second highest rated LAN event in your career. Which is quite a lot because you've been playing Counter Strike for a minute. So you are in great shape right now individually, as we can tell. Is that a product of the fact that, as you pointed out, you're getting to be a little bit more aggressive? Maybe now that jackasmo's on the team, you get to take a little bit more space. Do you feel like this is what's standing behind the improvement individually?
I wouldn't say so, Jones, because as everyone knows, I'm not really like I'm not really aggressive guy.
Yeah,
Like, of course I go for openings a lot,
which is
but I
weird
also
because
place.
back in the days on Epsilon, you were an entry, no? But that's a long
Yeah,
way.
I think
Yeah,
a long time ago maybe,
yeah,
but I think it the last many years, ever since complexity, when I was calling for conflict poison, oboe, and
yeah,
rush for aggressive rifle, I think ever since then it's just been kind of rooted in me to just naturally in moments think more about like instantly, like when something happens on the map, maybe I'm more thinking about like what rotation are they doing, or like should I hold this flash, take the next map control, where I think other people, let's say CYPHER for example, instantly thinks where is the gap right now.
yeah.
And I think for sure I'm better at doing it now than I was back in complexity. I'm like more aggressive now, but I don't think that's why I'm playing better at all, because I'm not like a crazy aggressive rifler that just runs
Yeah.
through smoke and stuff like that.
What do you
So I
think the
wouldn't I
reason is
wouldn't
then?
say.
Why would you say you are playing better? Because you have been playing. I mean, the thing is, even when Fnatic was struggling, you were still solid if you're looking at the pure numbers and even the pure impact in the server. I don't like looking at the numbers when it comes down to this, but still the last couple of weeks, and I'm gonna say that in the way that it is, you have been playing like a beast the last couple of weeks. Why is that?
I think maybe I've been better at like asking for stuff for my team. Honestly,
Okay.
I think it was after Birch Cup, I kind of had a talk with the coach as well, and said I think that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with some of the things right now. I think I want to kind of like be a little bit more in charge, and
Mm-hmm.
but like everyone's very encouraging that about like stuff I want to do. As I said before, like if I come with something to the team, like they're very open to do it. And I think maybe sometimes maybe I didn't do it enough before, but now I've been doing it a lot. But I think that's one thing. I think but that's just a small thing. I don't think that's why I'm playing good. I think also a big
Sure.
reason is just because I'm more comfortable in these lands. Like I also, last time we played Arma, for example, in Shanghai, I think also I played very, very good. Like when
Yeah.
we qualify for the Shanghai Major. I also think some of these lands we've been to this year, even before the break and stuff with Matus, I think also I played very good on land. So I honestly just think that I just feel more comfortable on land. So I think, yeah, I just think it's that, honestly. And then, of course, also, sometimes you play good, sometimes you play bad. Now I have some good events that doesn't mean that automatically I'm going to be good in the next couple of events. I still need to work
Yeah.
hard for it. And that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to play Ace it every day, like after practice, and grind deathmatch and grind demos and show up individually. So, of course, I'm trying to do that. And then, yeah, I'm just trying to do my best and see how far it takes me.
All right, that's great. It's the grinder mindset that I think has been a big part of your development as a person and as a player over the last couple of years. That's at least that's what I know you with, because I still remember the Epsilon days, and then when you joined Heroic, you were still turning on the stream just to hit 10k aimbot kills.
Yes, I remember as well.
And
Yes, that was
I
good
was
time.
like 16 or 17. I was like, I was playing aimbots as well, and I've got the stream, and I'm like, okay, he's doing that much. I can't complain that my wrist hurts, on 5k.
Yes, for sure.
Another
And I also
thing,
have to say,
yeah,
I also just have to say that, of course, I also think that I get a lot of freedom from my team,
sure,
like to do stuff. I think that also helps that if I'm like when I'm comfortable and I want to do moves, most of the time I can just do what I want to do. Like
yeah,
I think Fia is very nice at like giving me full freedom. He always tells me like he just wants me to do the things I want to do, and that helps a lot as well, of course, because then when I'm having a good game, which in for example, the last two Shanghai and Bucharest, I had many good games. I can
yeah,
continue having good games because I don't feel like anyone in the team is trying to like stop me from doing the moves I want to do. For example,
sure. They don't make
so
you
I
feel
remember,
like they're compromising. They make you feel like they want you to do what you're comfortable with.
yes, for sure. Even if I die, for example, on some move, like it's not like there's any
Hmm.
bad feeling or any bad mood. So yeah, I just think that that also helps a lot. Of course, like one thing is that I play good, but the other thing is also if someone was telling me every round what I had to do, of course, it's not up to me if I play good or not. Then I could, But if I'm every round like very active and involved, then it's very easy to also play good, I think.
Okay, all right. And one of the last things that I want us to touch upon, because this is already going past the 40-minute mark, you will be playing your third major now in Budapest, which I'm not gonna lie to you, for me that's absolutely wild. You have been around for a long time. 4 times you've been an HOTV top 20 players, but you've played a very few amount of majors. Is that something that has been waiting on you? Is that something that you think about sometimes? And how important it is for you to try and take advantage of now that situation and play well with a major, since you haven't had too many chances to do that actually throughout your career?
Oh, for sure. Of course, it's not many majors when you think about how many years I played. Um, but I also think that some of these, not all of them, but some of these major qualifiers has had some circumstances where I don't feel like it was completely nice for us.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll one day speak more about that, when I'm not, like, actually playing or something like that. But I do
sure.
think some crazy scenario has happened sometimes where I was kind of like, wow, not again, sorry to say, but
It's kind of like the
so yeah,
universe doesn't want me to go there.
yeah, just of course, like you still have chances to go there, but I just remember many times we're playing with like
Yeah.
end-ins or like teams where I thought like this is kind of like a dead team and stuff, but of course that's in the end there's no excuse because you qualify. If I just kill
Yeah, but
everyone,
it's still
then you qualify
frustrating,
anyway.
isn't it? How do you deal with that over a long period of time?
I think for sure it's frustrating, but that's just how it is, and
Yeah.
you can complain about it, you can just live with it, and I think I just kind of like understood that I have to live with it, and
Hmm.
now I just need to see if I can qualify for the majors, and so far it's going pretty good, I would say, in FNATIC. But for example, even in FNATIC, I qualified for 2 out of the last 3 majors, but one of them we played with stand-in in the in the RMQ,
Hmm.
or whatever it's called, the last one. So again, people say like, "Oh, you're not qualifying again." Yeah, but we played with stand-in. Also, there we play with stand-in. So I just think that it's not always the easiest conditions, when you're having to play with stand-in in the most important tournament of the event. Sorry, the most important event of the year.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm happy we'll qualify for the major, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And lastly, because you are looking forward to it, I think all of us are. What are the FNATIC expectations? What is the vibes on the teams like? Have you talked to the maybe the staff? What is the mindset that you guys are going into this event with? What do you strive to achieve?
I haven't set any like set goals, but I think it's pretty obvious for me that we just want to have a good showing,
Sure.
whatever that means. If we're meeting many good teams, we want to beat some of them. If we're meeting maybe lower tier teams than us. We want to go through, a couple of stages or something. I don't want to set a goal like we have to go to this stage or we have to do this, but I don't want to do what we did last time. For example, in Shanghai, we went through the RMR and then we went 0-3 in the major. Of course, then it's not nice. Like then you don't want to go to the major if you just lose 0-3. So I'm hoping that we have a decent run. That doesn't mean we have to go to playoff or anything like that. I don't want to try to be unrealistic or something like that. It can happen, but it's not the most likely outcome. But I think a decent outcome is that we beat some of these teams that are around our level or above us. I think that's something that we can hope for and hopefully also expect, because now we have had some time to practice. We cannot go in this event and say we didn't have any practice. If we lose all games, we cannot say it's because of lack of practice, something like that, because we actually had time now. So for me, I just want to have a good showing.
All right. Okay. And I guess this is where we can put an end to it. I wish you the best of luck. Once again, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a very pleasant conversation, and I've been wanting to do that for a long time. So yeah, thank you very much. Wish you the best of luck going into the major, and I'll see you in Budapest.
Thank you very much. Thank you.